Good morning and Jai Hind children. Today I am going to teach you poem second an elementary school classroom in a slum, which is composed by Stephen Spender. He is Stephen Spender. He was born in Feb 28, 1909 and died in July 16, 1995. So children, today in this video I will explain two stanza of this poem. Rest two stanzas will be explained in next videos. There are as many as 4 stanzas in this poem. So children, before starting this poem, I want to show you the condition of school classrooms in slum areas through some pictures. Please see them. Now, general analysis of this poem. The students in the classroom are underprivileged, malnourished. Here we are talking about the students of an elementary school classroom in a slum. The capitalistic government is supposed to supply equal opportunity for education, but the classroom in the slum offers little hope for change or progress for its lower class students. Actually, this poem was composed during the civil rights movement in the USA. It criticizes on race issues in American education. This poem is against capitalism and social injustice. Actually, children, this poem has universal appeal. In this poem, you will find no name of any country, location, race, citizenship. Spender wants to shed light on social injustice worldwide. Now let's discuss the theme. In this poem, Stephen Spender highlights the plight of slum children by using vivid images and apt words to picture a classroom in a slum. Through this, he touches in a subtle manner the themes of social injustice and inequalities. Now, let's study the actual text. So this is the text of stanza first. An elementary school classroom in a slum by Stephen Spender. Elementary means primary school. School 1 to 5. So let's start the explanation. Far, far from gusty waves these children's faces. The first word is repetition. Far, far. Far, far means here repetition is used. The poetic device is repetition. Repetition is used to show that very far. Far, far from gusty waves these children's faces. Means the children, the students who are sitting in the classrooms in a slum, their faces are quite far from the gusty waves. Gusty waves means हवा का झोंका. Here, gusty waves symbolize power, vigorousness. But as far as these children's faces are concerned, they look dull. Like rootless weeds. Another figure of speech, poetic device, and it is simile. Here, children's faces are compared with rootless weeds. Now, children, what are weeds? Weeds are unwanted plants. Dear children, weeds show that the children of slum are unwanted. It seems that the society has no concern for them. They are useless for the society. They are useless for the outside the slum because they are not belonging to the society which is situated outside the slum. Here, the poet presents two worlds. The world inside the slum and the world outside the slum area. The world within the slum, this is the world of the poor. This is the world of the deprived. But the world which is situated outside the slum, that is of the rich. Now children, they are like rootless weeds. Means these children are like weeds. Weeds means unwanted plants. Weeds are never grown. Weeds are never harvested. They grow themselves. And now and again they are uprooted and thrown away. And like rootless weeds, the hair turn round their pallor. Now, what is torn? Torn means unmanaged, uncombed hair. Their hairs means their hair are uncombed. Round their pallor. Pallor means pallor indicates their pale faces. Because of malnutrition, because of lack of blood, their faces are very dull. They have a yellowish effect. Now, here the poet introduces some children. First of all, the tall girl with her weight down head. Actually, there is a tall girl. The tall girl has put down her head because of the weight of the burden of grinding poverty. Actually, the word tall. Why the word tall has been used over here? Tall indicates that the tall girl is overaged for the class. She has put down her head due to sadness, due to interestedness, or you can say shame, or the mixture of all these feelings. Second boy is the paper seeming boy with rat's eyes. Paper seeming boy, another poetic device. This is metaphor. The boy's physique has been compared with paper. Means the boy is as thin as a paper. In Hindi usually we call पतला पापड़, वही चीज है यहाँ पे. Yes. Now, the paper seeming boy with rat's eyes. What is rat's eyes? His eyes pop out from his body. As he is very lean and thin, so it seems that his eyes have come out, have pop out like a rat. Secondly, it has another meaning also. Secondly, his eyes have the same amount of greed as the rat has. Because whenever a rat finds any eatable, it wants to grab it. In the same way, the boy's eyes have childish greed to get anything. Actually, children are greedy by nature. If you will go to market along a child, he will demand not only one thing, he will demand various things. I will take this pizza also, I will take this chocolate also, I want cakes also, biscuits also, everything he wants. So, this behavior of a child is indicated over here, is shown over here. Now, another boy is there. The stunted, unlucky, means there is another boy. There is another boy who has inherited his father's gnarled disease. What is gnarled disease? Actually, it is a kind of disease in which bones become knotty and twisted, जिसको हिंदी में आप गठिया बोलते हो, that is gnarled disease. So this child is stunted. Stunted means, it means he must have stopped growing. His growth is stopped because of undernourishment, because of his father's disease, what he has received inherently. So he is unlucky here. He is unlucky here means successor, inheritor. He is not lucky that he has got his father's legacy, he has got some property. Instead, he received disease. That's why he is unlucky here. Okay, but students, I hope you have understood what is means why he is unlucky here. Because in legacy, he has not received any property. Rather, he received his father's disease. Now, unlucky hair of twisted bones reciting a father's gnarled disease. His lesson from his desk at back of the dim class. Dear children, I want to tell you, the child is not only reciting a lesson, as it is written over here, that reciting a father's null disease, his lesson from his death. Actually, he is not reciting only his lesson. Along with his lesson, he is reciting, he is showing, he is telling about his father's gnarled disease also. So, at back of the dim class, one unnoted, sweet and young, his eyes live in a dream of a squirrel's game in tree room other than this. Dear children, dear children, here it is written that at the backside of the dim class, one unnoted, sweet and young. There is another child who is unnoted. Unnoted means as the classroom is badly lit. That is why the boy doesn't appear clearly. So that is why he is unnoticed. Actually, he is too small, too young to understand the current state of poverty. He is so innocent that he cannot understand what is misery and poverty. So that is why he is busy in his childish imagination. Actually, children, in our world there are as many as two kind of people. Firstly, one who understand and live in reality and faces it also. Second type of persons are escapists. They take a narrow escape from the reality and seek pleasure in imagination and daydreaming. So being escapist, this little child daydreams of the squirrels game and about the treehouse. Although he is physically present in the classroom, but mentally he is absent from it. Okay, in this way we have explained stanza first. Now let's move to stanza second. In this stanza, the poet talks about the belongings, the surrounding of the classroom. On sour cream walls, donations, Shakespeare's head. Dear children, here the first line contains the figure of speech, that is metaphor. Actually, the color of walls of classroom are compared with that of sour cream color. Usually walls are not of cream color in schools. They were white. But as these walls have not been painted for a long time, these walls turned green. Yes, children, because it seems that, as I have told you, it seems that for a long time these walls are not whitewashed, not painted. So that is why the white color of the walls looks creamy and it creates an unpleasant effect. Sour means unpleasant. Okay, donations. Actually, these walls are decorated with many hangings. There are many hangings on the wall which are donated, which are given in donations. What are they? As it is written over here, Shakespeare's head means picture of Shakespeare's head. Cloudless at dawn means scenery of clear sky at dawn. As means, means what is dawn? Dawn means early morning before the sunrise. Now, cloudless at dawn, civilized doom, riding all cities. Now, there is a dome. Dome means a dome of an ancient city building. Dome means what? A gumbad. And the dome riding all cities. The dome is riding, it means the dome is so big that it is hiding all the cities behind it. Another picture is of the beautiful valley, Tyrolese Valley. Beld. Beld means actually this valley is situated in Austria and it is famous for churches and flowers. Here bell signify the bells of church. In many poems of William Wordsworth, you will find Tyrolese Valley. Okay, and what is and a world map? There is open-handed map also. What is open-handed map, children? Here, open-handed map refers to an indefinite map in which the slum where they live in doesn't get any place or reference. So, Beld Flowery, Tyrolese Valley, open-handed map, awarding the world its world, and yet for these children, these window, not this map, dear world. Dear children, awarding means showing. This open-handed map, as I have told you, open-handed means an indefinite map, is awarding the world its world. It is showing the world of its own. Means not the world of slum children, the world of the rich people. Yes, it is showing the world outside the slum. This is the world of the rich people, but for these children, this map is baseless, meaningless, as written over here. But for children, these window, not this map, their world. For these children, the map that is hung on the wall is not showing their own world. Their slum area does not get any place or reference. Their world is different. Their world is different from what is shown in the map. Their world is only what they see out of the window of the classroom. Whatever they can see outside of the window is their world. And what they can see outside of the window means the heap of garbages, open and filthy drainages, and very small dirty homes. Briefly speaking, they can see only slum, and that is their world, not the world that is shown in the map. Children, these windows, not this map, their world, where all their futures painted with a fog. A narrow street filled with a lead sky, far, far from rivers, capes, and stars of words. So let me explain. Children, these window, not this map, their world. For these children, as I have told you, the map means these window, their world. Their world is these windows. The windows of the classroom are their world. What they can see outside the window is their world, not the map in which their some area does not get any place, where all their future is painted with a fog. Here another very good explanation. Dear children, actually these children do not receive quality education or basic facilities, and it clearly projects that their future is as uncertain and unclear as fog. Their future is bleak, their future is uncertain like a fog. That's why their future is compared with a fog. Here there is metaphor. Now last two lines. A narrow street filled in with a lead sky, far, far from rivers, capes, and stars of words. So a narrow street filled means, children, like a narrow street, there is no wide scope for their future growth, and within the narrow street their life is sealed, their life is enclosed by the dull sky. The sky is dark due to pollution, so dark their lives are. Here lead sky symbolizes that their life is bleak and dull. The dark sky eliminates the light of hope. Far, far from rivers, capes, and stars of world. Last line. The children in slum are far, very far. It means very far away from rivers, seas, and capes, which symbolize adventure. And stars of world here symbolize the blaze and light of education that can make their future bright. But they are very far away from it. Why they are very far away from it? Because they do not get quality education, and whatever education they get in such atmosphere, it is not going to give them any kind of profit. It is not going to help them to mold a better future. That's why it is written that they are very far from adventure and quality education. So children, it was the explanation of stanza first and second. We will study stanzas third and fourth in next video. So for today it's enough. Goodbye.